Even in the midst of a global pandemic, 2020 has had some mega mergers and acquisitions. One of the most consequential, Salesforce buying Slack for nearly $28 billion. It's among the biggest deals ever in the software industry, and it spotlights how companies are trying to position themselves for a post-pandemic world where the nature of work may very well be very different. Joining us right now is Slack CEO Stewart Butterfield. Stewart, it's great to see you. It's nice to see you. I think this is the first time we've had a chance to talk on air since the big deal, and really an opportunity for you to explain, I think, to the public and more about what really led to this. If you could sort of take us behind the scenes of your thinking, because for so very long we've had conversations about, you know, what the company would look like 5 years from now, and you'd say, I want to be an independent company. What's the backstory?
I think the simple version of the backstory is this is a really unique combination, and we believe we can accomplish in the next 5 years what might have taken us 20 years to do otherwise. So I mean, that's the heart of it, and it's a pretty big milestone for us. We're excited. You know, I think it wasn't expected to the outside world, but we have a lot of momentum now. We came out of this quarter and we announced our results. Salesforce announced their results, and then we announced the acquisition all at the same time. So I think a little bit of this got lost, but we added 12,000 new paid customers in that quarter. So it's up 140% from a year ago. It matches the crazy surge that we saw during the early days of the pandemic. And that momentum is coming from product improvements, and it's coming from Slack Connect, which allows two organizations to communicate across organizational boundaries. And I think that's actually going to be key to the value unlock over the next few years. Salesforce is all about CRM. It's all about customers. And Slack Connect is 95% customer vendor relationships.
Stuart, what do you say to the critics who say that this is a defensive deal? Defensive for Slack, insofar as Microsoft and the Teams product has outperformed in ways that I don't think anybody had anticipated even 18 months ago, and potentially even defensive for Salesforce, or that you could argue maybe it's opportunistic for Salesforce because they want to play very much and feel that they have to play against Microsoft, and that this gives them a leg up, or at least an opportunity to compete in that way?
I think this is 100% offense. And again, I think there are some really unique aspects to this particular combination. We weren't looking to sell the company. I have a great relationship with Bret Taylor, president and CEO of Salesforce, and we've known each other for a couple of decades at this point. And there's a way in which we see the world that I think very few people see it today, but everyone will see it later. And one way to say that is to look at the engagement layer, and that's kind of a weird term, but the place where the conversations are happening, the places where the decisions are being made, as the perfect place to bring together workflows across organizational boundaries. And Salesforce has a really broad suite, but of course we have 2,400 apps in the app directory for Slack. We have 700,000 custom integrations that were developed by customers. So these are like unique little integrations, some of them very small, just sending notifications into Slack, some of them sophisticated workflows that run entire businesses. And that's something that I think we will see an increasing degree of sophistication in the messaging environments, and an increasing degree of work getting done directly where the decisions are made.
Given the price tag for Salesforce, how do you think investors should measure success? Meaning, if they were to look 3, even 5 years out from now, how do you think they should be able to say, okay, this really worked or this really didn't? Is it about uptake on Slack and the actual economics of what Slack is going to cost? Does it ultimately become a free product within Salesforce, and then you look at it from a market share perspective, or something else?
When Bret and I were talking, this will sound a little cheesy maybe, but we talked about the opportunity for something that's 1 + 1 = 7. So if you think back to the 90s and Cisco acquiring small hardware startups and then plugging it into their network of 20,000 salespeople and just selling a lot more of that thing, that's not it. I mean, we will do that as well. They have obviously incredible distribution and incredible reach and incredible relationships across all industries, across all geographies. So we'll sell more Slack, but Salesforce recently announced the plan to get to $50 billion in revenue. And I think we'll play an important part of that. Well, I think we'll also be an accelerant for the adoption of Salesforce's core products. So definitely no intention to make Slack free. I think what we've seen in the last little while is biggest telco in North America is wall-to-wall on Slack. The operator of the largest integrated healthcare system in the United States is in Slack. The single largest government contractor in the United States is wall-to-wall on Slack. We win in media and technology kind of famously, but we also win in retail and apparel and industries that people, I think, don't imagine seeing us. We have 142,000 customers right now, and there's going to be a lot of overlap with Salesforce, but there's also going to be 100,000 plus of those customers, which are SMBs and kind of outside of Salesforce's purview so far, that we think there's the opportunity to bring into the fold and to connect them all together with Slack Connect.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.